Hey guys, what's up? It's Monkalzunky and welcome to the season opener, at least on YouTube. This is the third game of the season, technically, but the first two I just simulated versus the Spurs and the other team that we played, I believe Magic, and we split those, so we're 1-1 going into the third game of the season against the Knicks, and we are playing at home, so kind of a fail at the first tip-off of the game. That happens every once in a while if you time the jumping really badly, which I did there, and also the CPU times the jumping really badly. I'm not really sure how they managed to do that, but we will be going up against Carmelo Anthony and the defenseless Knicks. I say defenseless because for one, they're a bad team, and for two, they don't play defense, so they're really defenseless in more ways than one. I watched the Knicks on Christmas Day as well as the Spurs and the OKC Thunder play, and they were awful, so it wasn't very fun watching them. Ironically, these were the two teams that just played on Christmas Day, which is yesterday for me at least, but it does depend on when you are watching this video, and the Wizards won fairly handily. The game was not as close as the score may have indicated, and I had a lot of fun watching that game, and I'm having a lot of fun watching Wizards games as well. I'm trying to kind of recreate the style that they play a little bit. They do pass the ball down to their bigs a lot, but it really is the backcourt that's the main focal point of the offense and the main thing that they're building the team around, and I'm trying to emphasize that as well. So we do kind of have a strong backcourt. Marcin Gortat is starting to decline a little bit because, unfortunately, in 2K, every time an athlete hits 30, that's the magic number, they start to really decline no matter how good the athlete is, and it kind of sucks because in real life that's not always the case. There are some athletes that still remain very effective into their mid-30s, and it's not every single athlete that immediately starts going on the major decline at age 30 itself. But that's just how this game works. So we have retooled the roster a little bit. I showed almost all of that in my offseason video, but I additionally ended up signing CJ Watson to, I believe, a $1.5 million one-year deal. Because he is a veteran, he's pretty old, his overall isn't too high, he was willing to sign for a fairly small amount and potentially be on a contending team. I at least hope we will be on a contending team. We were supposed to be on a contending team last year, but things went south with John Wall's injuries, as well as pretty much everyone else on the team who got injured at some point or another during the season. But hopefully this year we will be making the playoffs, making a strong push as a rookie gets into the game. Joey Bradshaw, who I'm really excited about because he's really athletic, pretty big. He can't really shoot, which is an issue of his game that I'd like to eventually modify. I'd like to work on his shooting, and I have been working on that during the coaching, as Tim Hardaway Jr. hits a deep three, and get used to that because he's going to be hitting a lot of threes during this game. He really burned me. He was the one bright spot of the Knicks, and one of the few bright spots of the Knicks in real life. I think he has a chance to develop into a really good player. He's listed at 6'6", but I believe his actual height is 6'8", which is extremely tall for a shooting guard, and he's also very athletic and can shoot threes, and so he's one of those prototypical 3-and-D guys in the NBA that so many teams are just crazy about and try to have quite a few of on their team at these days. And Tim Hardaway Jr. hitting another step-back three, so he was really dangerous. And of course the Knicks still have Melo, who is going to be the main point of the Knicks offense as long as he's on the team, or until he stays on the team so long that he just eventually succumbs to old age. But Bradley Beal can hit some threes as well, and CJ Watson is now in the game. I think our backup point guard role is much improved on this team this year. Jordan Crawford is not a bad player, however he isn't really a point guard, he's more of a shoot first type, and CJ Watson is not only a much better three-point shooter than Jordan Crawford was, he's really dangerous behind that three-point line, but he's also actually a point guard. So we do have a real point guard on the roster this time, and John Wall comes in the game and he shows that he can hit threes at the point guard spot as well, and I did spent some VC on upgrading his outside shooting during the offseason, and John Wall, just like in real life how he's been an improved three-point shooter and really working on that aspect of his game a lot. I don't think he's ever going to be an absolute sniper, but he can definitely knock them down, and you do not want to leave him wide open. And John Wall, of course, his calling card is the dunking, and he just kind of went off on the dunk fest. One thing that I realized very quickly during this game is that the Knicks were starting Jose Calderon in their point guard slot, and I was starting John Wall, so that immediately Tim Hardaway Jr. hits another three, and he's 4 for 4 from 3 already, and yes, this continues to happen. Bradley Beal, unfortunately, just could not stick with him. But when you have a mismatch to the magnitude of Jose Calderon trying to guard John Wall, you have to take advantage of that, and I gladly did that. And unfortunately, the Knicks never did anything to try to compensate it for it, because unfortunately their backup point guard right now is Shane Larkin, who isn't exactly going to be able to D-up John Wall either. And so I guess the only thing they could have done is maybe they could have put Tim Hardaway on John Wall, maybe they could put Iman Shumpert on John Wall, but that means other positions on the court would remain relatively unguarded, and then I'd be able to take advantage of those as well. I guess Tim Hardaway Jr. is a pretty good defender. I mean, he's still young, he still has a lot to learn in terms of like just defensive techniques and all that, but he is definitely athletic enough to do it. But J.R. Smith pressing the ball in transition and dunks. J.R. Smith is still on the Knicks. Unfortunately, they did not find a way to dump him yet. I'm sure they will eventually do that in real life, hopefully anyway. And John Wall misses the short pull-up jumper there, and Jose Calderon actually contesting a shot for once. Do not get used to that happening, and Melo, of course, is going to pull up when he's wide open in transition. So next they're hanging in there. They have a pretty good offense. I mean, their defense is borderline one of the worst in the league, but their offense is passable. So when they get hot, when Tim Hardaway Jr. is shooting 4 for 4 from three-point range, then they can definitely hang in a game, and they managed to do that in this game. We're pressing the ball in transition. Bradley Beal gets the easy dunk off of the pass from Joey Bradshaw. So, of course, like we do every single game, we ran in transition a lot. And I showed the free throw here for this reason. Iman Shumpert just launches it from half court and just swishes it. Nothing but the bottom of the net. That was actually a few feet beyond the half court line. So very, very lucky shot there. And that's the second half court so far during this MyGm. I don't know what's going on. It's like the half courts are falling more often these days. But we go into halftime, and you can see here the three-point percentage is pretty good for the Knicks, 38%. Field goal percentage only 40%. So what they need to do is shoot more threes and shoot less of everything else, because that's the only thing they've been having success with. So we'll see if we do that during the second half. But Tyreke Evans misses a three. I shot several threes with him, and he's not really the best three-point shooter, so I'm not entirely sure why I did that. I can't really explain myself. Another free throw shown here, and the reason why I'm showing them is a ton of free throws were shot during this game, and I love it. Ever since the latest patch to 2K, fouls are actually called in this game, shooting fouls on both you and the CPU. It's really great seeing that, because for a long time, you'd get like 10 free throw attempts a game. It's just not very realistic. So this game, I believe we shot upwards of 40 free throws, and I will show that in the end. And unfortunately, that did inflate the score by quite a bit. There was a ton of points scored during this game, but it was still really cool seeing those fouls actually be called now when they just haven't been in the past. Tyreke Evans launching another three here, and yes, even though I'm entirely knowledgeable of the fact that Tyreke Evans is not a very good shooter, he can knock them down when he's wide open. Technically, it's a decent shot to shoot when there's no defender in his airspace, which is quite often the case because he's not a very good shooter. However, if there's any contest of the shot at all, it's really not worth shooting whatsoever. But one thing that I would really like to work on is Melo proves that he can shoot, and Tyreke Evans was just sagging off him there for some reason, is that I really should work on Tyreke Evans shooting. And he's never going to be a great shooter because it's Tyreke Evans. Melo knocking down another three. Tyreke Evans had a really hard time guarding him. I was considering putting maybe Joey Bradshaw on him or Trevor Ariza. And Trevor Ariza, when he was in the game, was D'ing up Melo when they're both in the game at the same time. Tyreke Evans finally redeeming himself there and hitting a somewhat open three. But Melo is going to go off no matter who the defender is, because it's 2K and Melo is just a very, very good player, as John Wall gets the extremely tough contact layup over Samuel Dalembert there, and he is just continuing to blow past Jose Calderon with relative ease and not getting a whole lot of contested shots. And Marcin Gortat cutting for the rim for the really nice ball movement. Nice pass by Tyreke Evans there. Nice court vision to set up that basket. And the Knicks are yet again going to the Melo offense because they don't really have too much of an other options at the moment, and of course Melo is going to knock those down because Melo is a very good post player and he's very strong and capable. Battling in the low post as it's alley-oop time from John Wall to Bradley Beal, and he reverse dunks it on the alley-oop, which is something that's incredibly difficult to pull off, but Bradley Beal is fairly athletic and he can knock those down as well. Melo this time missing finally on the mid-range jumper. We're going to pass it up the court, and it's bounce pass time to Trevor Ariza, who's finally in the game. He did lose his starting spot, unfortunately, to Tyreke Evans, just because Tyreke Evans is a slightly higher overall player. And even though Tyreke Evans can't shoot, I'm really, really good with Tyreke Evans. Hopefully I will be able to show that off in the future. I had a Pelicans association for a while where I was using Tyreke Evans as the point guard, and he just demolishes opposing point guards because he did play that slot in college, so he is capable of it. We're in transition again, and Bradley Beal with the two-handed hammer is slamming it over several Knicks defenders, and Bradley Beal is a monster in transition when he wants to be, and was really effective in this particular game. So the Knicks so far have been able to keep it relatively close, surprising because they're one of the Eastern Conference bottom feeders, partly because of 2K happening due to Samuel Dalembert hitting a three at the end of the shot clock. That's not something you probably ever see again in your life. He is not a three-point shooter, if you didn't know. He's a Knicks starting center and really is not very good on offense for the most part, although he has a decent mid-range jumper, I suppose. And the Knicks actually take the lead on a fast break opportunity, but then John Wall just slams it and manages to slay Samuel Dallenberg, getting him back for that BS that happened at the end of the shot clock where he hit the 3. And John Wall at the very end of the third quarter, Bradley Beal actually, excuse me, is just going to fall away and manage to hit the tough leaning back shot over Cleanthony early, and we're headed into the fourth quarter. I have a 1-point lead, so starting out the fourth quarter with the right way with an alley-oop to Trevor Ariza, who has the weak sauce finish and almost misses the layup. I'm not sure why he didn't slam that. His hand was well above the rim. I'm pretty sure he could have just dunked that in if he really tried. But that is one of the reasons why we don't start Trevor Ariza anymore. He's starting to lose it a little bit because he has hit that magic number of 30 as well. He's starting to decline, and Jose Calderon, as bad as he is defensively, you cannot leave him open on offense because even the tiniest sliver of space, he'll manage to hit a 3 on you. And then John Wall slamming it in transition, 2 hands for safety, and Jose Calderon just stands there and says, "I feel great shame," because he got dunked on again for perhaps the umpteenth time during this game. Cleanthony early is in the game, and he's hitting a deep jumper. He's one of those Knicks rookies. I guess technically in this game he would be a second-year player, but in real life he's a rookie who I really had a lot of expectations for coming out of college. I think he's going to be really good, and someone else who's good is John Wall. Slamming it again, it's just going to be a dunk fest. It's the fourth quarter. It's been a close game. John Wall has been the clutch master all season long, and one thing that we're going to do is we're going to give it to John Wall and just exploit that matchup. If the Knicks are going to leave Jose Calderon in the game, I'm going to punish them for it. Hopefully it's not too cheesy, but that's what you got to do to win games sometimes, is just take advantage of your easiest way to score. And Melo is left wide open in transition. Of course he's going to shoot that, and of course he's going to make it. Melo is a very good mid-range shooter. Running a bit of a pick and roll with Joey Bradshaw, he kind of gets in the way, but then he manages to slip open for a really easy layup. I was trying to get him involved in the offense a little bit during this game just to build his confidence and also learn how to play with him, because of course he's a new addition to the team and something that I would like to keep on my team for quite a while in the future, sort of a building block cornerstone. Tyreke Evans hits a 3 in the corner, even though he's cold. It's surprising that those go in, but of course the corner 3 is the easiest 3 to hit, so even for a somewhat bad 3-point shooter, it's probably okay if they're open. Melo with the very difficult turnaround shot over Tyreke Evans, and Tyreke Evans is a little bit shorter than Melo. I believe Melo has like 2 inches and probably 30 pounds-ish on him, so Melo is definitely going to take advantage of that. Bradley Beal hitting the 3. We're getting down into the later stages of the game, and I'm starting to build some momentum and really pull away here, even though John Wall misses the easy corner 3-point shot, and then Tim Hardaway Jr. dunks it in transition. He is back in the game. It's been a while since we've seen any Tim Hardaway Jr. highlights, but he is really going to make a huge impact at the end of this fourth quarter, not wanting to spoil anything. Tim Hardaway Jr. again pushing the ball to Melo. He dunks it, and it's a 3-point game with 2 minutes left to go, so we're down to the 2-minute warning time. No more fouls, or intentional fouls anyway, allowed, and John Wall dunks it off of the really easy pick and roll. It's almost like taking candy from a child. There's hardly any defensive effort at all on the Knicks' part of containing the ball handler. And Marcin Gortat running in transition. I always try to reward the big man when he runs a transition, because when it happens, it's a special thing to see a 7-footer charging down the court like that. Bradley Beal is also charging down the court, and I think I have the game in hand here. Up by 9 points with 57 seconds left to go. All I got to do is make my free throws right. You may be surprised about what happens. Tim Hardaway stepping back on Bradley Beal and just splashing the 3. That is good, and the Knicks are within 6. After a dumb turnover on my part, the Knicks have the ball yet again. Tim Hardaway Jr., he is coming out gunning, and he's going to shoot another 3 contested, but it goes in as well, and the Knicks are only down by 3. I'm not really sure what happened here. I thought I was just going to hit some free throws and the game would be over. John Wall misses the lay-in, and the Knicks are running down the court. They only are down in 1 possession, and passes to Tim Hardaway Jr., and he makes it an and 1. Unfortunately, he does not make the free throw, but I also missed a free throw on the ensuing possession, and Melo just charges the rim and hits it. 4.6 seconds left, and it's tied up. I have no idea what happened. My offense is in shambles. I missed my last 3 shots. I give it to John Wall, and a game-winning shot manages to fall. It bounced a little bit on the rim. I wasn't sure if it was good for a second there, but 0.8 seconds left. The Knicks have no timeouts, and so they're going to have to hoist a full-court shot, and we managed to win the game. So opening day last year, we got a game-winner hit on us, and this year we have the payback with the game-winner on the Knicks. So looking at the box score here, John Wall had 34 and 11. Bradley Beal had 32 points, and Tyreke Evans 15 points on a relatively inefficient night. But look at some of those free throw numbers. John Wall shot 12 free throws, Bradley Beal shot 9. Tyreke Evans also shot 8. Joey Bradshaw went 4 for 4. Really impressive for a rookie, managing to knock down all of his free throw attempts. I wasn't sure if he would be a decent shooter, but it looks like maybe we have something here. And maybe he can learn a decent mid-range game as well, and then he could be very effective in the offense. Our other rookie, who I believe his name is Marcus Johnston, or it's something Johnston, and he only managed to get 2 points. He was in the game a little bit. I mainly want to play him just as some defense and rebounding. I don't think we're going to expect anything out of offensively. J.R. Smith had another J.R. Smith night, 4 for 12, very inefficient, but of course we're all used to that at this moment. The real surprise was Tim Hardaway Jr. with 29 points and 6 for 7 from the three-point line. He was just insane. Melo was very mellow with a 40-point night. I kind of expected that to happen. And looking at the free throw numbers here, it's absolutely insane. We shot 45 free throws. The Knicks shot 27. I'm loving all of the fouls that get called. I think it's extremely realistic. I'm really glad that that was patched into the game. I think the game has improved a lot since the last patch, and I'm looking forward to playing it even more. But overall, we managed to get a win here against the Knicks, and we're off to a 2-1 start, which is great. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video coming in a few days. Farewell.